Hi, this is Gay Polk-Payton. I'm coming to you with my blog number 5. I call it blog number 5, but I actually recorded, it would actually be blog number 6 because I did one last Sunday. And I didn't really count it as a blog, but I guess I should. But I don't have to renumber everything. Well, I guess I only have to renumber this one and the one before. So we'll figure it out. I'll let you know. But this is either blog number 5 or number 6. Just work with me. Anyway, and work with this hair because I missed my hair appointment on Thursday because I was having car problems. Oh my God, my car, the check AT light came on in my car. A single girl's worst nightmare is car trouble. We don't care if the car is clean. We don't care if our yard is mowed. But a broken down car, when you ain't got no man, that is a nightmare. So, because usually you're going to be depending on somebody else's man to come fix your car. And if it's after business hours, then she ain't gonna want to let her man come fix your car, and you just like up a creek. But anyway, luckily it was the middle of the day, so he was able to come over here. It wasn't the actual transmission on my truck, it was the hose that takes the transmission to. So hopefully it didn't do any damage to my transmission, the fact that the transmission fluid wasn't getting there. But anyway, I missed my hair appointment. That's the point of the whole thing that I'm saying is the fact that I missed my hair appointment. So I look a mess, but I don't care. I'm going Thursday. Y'all gonna have to work with me till Thursday. I gotta record another blog on Wednesday, so that means you got to see a nappy head again on Wednesday. But that's all right. You know, it's just like, I ain't gonna worry about it. My mom told me, as long as you can make it look presentable and don't be looking thrown away, you be all right. Speaking of mamas, tomorrow is Mother's Day. And so I'm doing a Mother's Day blog about mothers. I wrote a status on Facebook today, and I did a collage of my mom. My mom passed away when I was 2 months pregnant with my son. August will be 17 years since my mom passed away, and it's still hard. She was my backbone. She was my rock. But I was telling a young lady today who really has a hard time during this time of year that, if you carry on her legacy and do the things that she showed you how to do and make her proud. When I look in the mirror and I look at a picture of my mom, my question is, do I make you proud? I just want to make her proud of me. And and one of the things that I want her to be proud of is the way that I was strong enough to carry on in her absence and to get her grandbaby here safely, because that was one of the things that she admonished me to do when she knew that she was, not going to be with me much longer. She told me she knew my son was in there, and I don't know how she knew, but she knew it was a boy. And she said, you're going to take care of my grandbaby. There's nothing you can do for me, but you can do your job and get my grandbaby here safely. And so, it was like, I told one of my students when I was assistant dean at Ole Miss Law School that when my mother told me that, it was a time in my life where I had to put down my grief and deal with the task at hand. And the task at hand was getting my baby here safely, her grandbaby. And so I was trying to help her because she had just taken an exam, and she was really bummed about it because she thought she had done horribly. And I told her, I said, well, you got to go and do whatever you got to do to relax. I said, because you have evidence, which is a 4-hour course next week. I said, so you have to put down your grief and deal with the task at hand. And I just told her about the story that I told you a few minutes ago about my mother telling me that I had to get my son here safely. And she told me that it really, really helped her, and she was able to go and study, and she did great. She graduated from law school. She's living in North Carolina, and she's a wonderful, wonderful girl, and a wonderful addition to the legal profession. Also, like when I wrote my song, I have a song that I wrote called God Gives Me. And, you never know what's going to happen with something when you do it, because I wrote the song like in 2002, 2003, something like that. It woke me up in the middle of the night. I got up, I started writing, and the song kind of wrote itself. And I wrote the song in 15 minutes. I mean, literally, I wrote that song in 15 minutes. And so I recorded it. And then when my cousin was doing the movie Blackbird that stars Monique Hicks, the Oscar and Image Award winning Monique, the one and only Monique, when my cousin Patrick Ian Pope was doing that movie and he was getting ready to start editing, he asked me, and Isaiah Washington is also in it from Grey's Anatomy. I mean, it was a wonderful cast, and it was just great working with them because they were just awesome. But he asked me if I wanted to submit any music for the soundtrack. And so I sent him, some of my songs. And so now 2 of the songs that I've written are featured on the soundtrack. One of the songs that I wrote is called Real Man, and you can get it on YouTube, iTunes, whatever. I also have a mixtape that has all 5 of the songs that I've released on it. But the song that I'm talking about now is called God Gives Me. Real Man, I wrote that at a gas station. I was standing there pumping my own gas, and I was thinking that if I had a real man, I wouldn't have to pump my own gas because I would be clean, full of gas, functional, tires rotated, everything would be done if I had a real man, but I ain't got no man, and the only time I get my gas pumped is when my son is with me. It's just pitiful. Anyway, I ain't worried about that. But this song is called God Gives Me. And the 3rd verse of the song is about my mother. The first verse is talking about God giving you strength. It comes from Philippians 4:7. And may the peace of God that surpasses all understanding guard your heart and mind, blah, blah, blah. The rest of that scripture that I can't recite the whole thing because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess up the word of God. But you know what scripture I'm talking about. Most people who study the Bible or who actually go to church, you'll know which scripture I'm talking about in Philippians 4:7. And but anyway, in the first verse, I talk about God giving me strength. So the chorus changes each time with what's going on in the verse. So it's like in the first verse, I talk about God giving me strength. And the first verse says, I remember well the trials that God has sustained me through thus far. I have been there where you are. I've been up and I've been down. I've cried till I could no longer make a sound. Hope could not be found. I said, life can get so crazy, the forest blocks the trees, but trusting God through trials helped me find the strength I need. And then the chorus says, God gives me strength that surpasses all understanding. Be strong, hold on, give him trust, he'll give you love. God gives me strength that surpasses all understanding. Make him yours, and he'll protect you from the troubles of this world. And then the second verse talks about love. And in that verse, I say, when my first love left me crying, I know now that you were teaching me that I had to trust you with my life. You showed me how to be the gift, to be to man what you called me to be. It's my birthright, you see. Sometimes when you are lonely, the forest blocks the trees, but trusting God through trials helped me find the love I need. Then the third verse talks about God giving me peace, and that's the verse about my mother. And it says, when I heard my mom was dying, you led me to the smiles beyond my tears. I had to face my greatest fear, but she knew my son was on the way, and she told me to protect him come what may. She said I'd understand one day. Grief can weigh you down and make the forest block the trees, but trusting God through trials helped me find the peace I need. God gives me peace that surpasses all understanding. Be strong, hold on, give him trust, he'll give you love and joy. God gives me peace that surpasses all understanding. Make him yours, and he'll protect you from the troubles of this world. So that's what my song is about. It's a really beautiful song. You should check it out. Like I said, you can get it on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, anywhere. You can get music digitally. And if you want to get a copy of it, you can email me at judgecutie@comcast.net, and I will mail you one signed by me. I'll mail you a copy of the book signed by me if you email me and you want to get yours that way. Some people like digital copies, but some people are old-fashioned and they just like things done the old-fashioned way. So, I don't have a problem with that. I'll give it to you however you want it. Anyway, no Tupac reference meant in that, even though I love Pac. I love Pac. Anyway, I was in law school when Pac was hot. It was, child, please. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna go there. But this is the first PSA in my single parenting PSA that I have here, and I want to read this PSA to you. This is going to be my Mother's Day PSA, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to try not to ramble on. I try to make these blogs, like I said, I'm going to make it 10 minutes today, but then next thing I know, I look up and I hadn't even read my PSA yet from the book, and I'm already at 10 minutes, because I just be talking. I don't know. Now, let me hush, because when I was interning for a judge, when I was in my last year of law school back in 1996. I'm a lot older than I look. Trust and believe. I've been practicing law for 18 years. The judge that I was interning for, his mother-in-law was my middle school teacher. She taught me social studies or something like that. I don't even remember what it was because I wasn't paying attention. And she and my English teacher from high school told me that they were so glad that I went into a profession that allowed me to talk for a living. I resemble those remarks. I don't appreciate that. I feel like I kind of feel dissed by it, but at the same time, hey, you got to use what you got to get what you need. Okay, so this PSA is about my mother. Oh, that was so beautiful, y'all. Y'all just have no idea. If you want to see a picture of her, you can go to my Facebook page because I posted a picture of her today. Actually, I did a collage of pictures for her today, and I have you can go to my Instagram or my Twitter. And my Instagram Twitter name is just Judge Cutie. And Judge Cutie is just like it sounds, JUDGECUTIE. Judge Cutie is my Instagram name, my Twitter name, and that's my email address, judgecutie at comcast.net. Okay, this is the PSA. A picture of a mother holding her baby boy hangs in my hallway beneath a picture of a little girl lying on her mom's chest asleep. I like to think of the little girl as me and this woman as me carrying on the legacy of motherhood that my mother left with me when she died while I was carrying my son. We had a party to celebrate life after Kobe finished his chemotherapy and radiation treatment in June 2012. And the processes we endured during that year taught all of us how precious life is. It should never be taken for granted. Even though I'm always proud of my son, I was especially proud when I reflected upon how strong he was during his treatment. He never complained, and he was always concerned about me. He is absolutely the bravest man I've ever met. And at his party, when I listened to his friends talk about what a good friend he was, and all of them and I just looked at his guests and I saw that my son was friends with kids who are different in so many ways. I realized that I have been blessed with stewardship over the upbringing and nurturing of a very special young man. Therefore, like every job I do, I take my responsibilities as a mom very seriously, and I always do my very best to show God how grateful I am for the gift given to me when He gave me my son. In case you didn't know, I adore my baby, my chocolate pudding, with all my heart. And I'm just grateful that my mother was the kind of mother that she is. And every time I hug my baby, she lives through me. Every time I hug him the way she hugged me and told me that everything was going to be all right. My mother, when I was a little girl, I don't even know how I could put this delicately, but I was a chubby little thing. I was thick with it, and it wasn't cute. I had little pigtails like every other little girl that was growing up in the 70s. And my favorite color was yellow, and I liked to wear yellow. As dark as I was, I just liked to wear yellow, and it's still my favorite color. I love yellow. And my mother, I used to cry because kids would pick on me because, like I said, I was a chubby little thing. And my mother would just touch my face. She was like, "Do you ever really look at yourself?" She said, "Look at your eyes." She said, "You are beautiful." And I would just cry. I'm like, "No, I'm not." I would say, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not beautiful." She said, "You are beautiful." She would tell me that I was beautiful and that she loved me every single day. And with my son, I don't get off the phone with him without saying I love you. I could be calling him, going off about his room, going off about the fact that the recycle bin is still out at the street. Today is Saturday, and the recycle bin is still out at the street from Thursday. And I could be calling him to go off about that, or go off about something else, about him being late, about him not calling me when he got to his destination, anything. But at the end of that conversation, before my baby hangs up that phone, I tell him I love him, because I don't ever know when will be my last conversation with my son, and I want my last words to my son to always be I love you. So I say I love you to him all the time. When I was in a relationship, I was in a relationship with someone who had a dangerous job. I'll put it like this. And every time before I would hang up with him, I would always tell him that I loved him, because you just never know when the last time you're going to talk to somebody. So don't carry bitterness in your heart. That's one of the things that I learned. One of the things that I can bring back on this Mother's Day that my mother taught me. She said, give of yourself and don't expect anything in return, because that's probably what you're going to get, nothing. So you just have to give of yourself. And I don't mind giving of myself. I mean, I sing at funerals for people that I don't even know. I sing for functions, and I don't charge people to do that kind of stuff, because singing is not my profession yet. It may be someday. Writing, I consider that to be a profession, because I'm actually selling my books, and songwriting, because my songs are actually for sale. But when I sing for people, if they're having a gathering, or if I go and speak to a group of kids, like next Sunday I'm going to speak to some kids for their graduation ceremony at church, And, you know, when I do stuff like that, I don't really expect anything in return. The goodwill in the community is more valuable than any money that they could give me. Because, you know, I sing at the police memorial. I usually sing at the police memorial, but this year I'm actually the keynote speaker for the police memorial. But I do all of these functions, and people are like, what? My sister told me, she said, if I could sing like you, I wouldn't clear my throat without somebody paying me. But when I ran for judge back in 2011, I had people inboxing me on Facebook and stopping me, you know, in the store, asking me, what can I do to help with your campaign? I remember when you came to my church for Mother's Day and you sang for us. I remember when you came to our Mother's Day program and you came to our Women's Day program. You did this, you did that. I mean, people remember the works. You know, my mother-in-law told me that when I was married, my mother-in-law, I had 3 kids when I was married. I only have one biological child, but I raised my stepkids. And my stepson is 25, and my stepdaughter just turned 21 last weekend. And well, actually, it was 2 weekends ago. Boy, time is flying. It was 2 weeks ago on the 27th. But my mother-in-law, my baby was newborn, and you know, he's probably about 6 months old, and we run around the house. I'm trying to comb Brianna's hair, and I'm trying to brush Travis's hair and get them ready for school. And I had to be at court at 9, and they had to get to where they were going because we lived too far out for the bus to come out there. And his daddy, my ex-husband, didn't want to wait, so he would take them to my mother-in-law's house for them to catch the bus. And I mean, it was just, you know, and I had to get them ready. So it was just like, and my mother-in-law stopped me one day. She was at the house one morning because sometimes she would come over and help me clean up because she knew I was taking care of all those kids, and I had my law practice, and I had a lot going on in my life. And she just stopped me one day and she said, baby. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, the Lord don't forget your works. And that, I mean, I carry that with me. I carry things that my mother-in-law said to me, that my mom said to me. They were both 2 of the most beautiful women on the planet. So today, the day before Mother's Day, I would like to pay tribute to my mother, Fannie Mae Miller Polk. Her maiden name is Miller. She didn't hyphenate her name like me, but that was Miller was her maiden name. And I would also like to pay tribute to my mother-in-law, Ophelia Bell Payton. You know, when I got a divorce, I didn't divorce my mother-in-law. I didn't divorce any of my family members. It's like I didn't really, you know, it's just like a family is a unit, and even if people can't live together in unity as a couple, you know, they still have to live in unity, especially if they have a child together. You have to be able to coexist in some shape, form, or fashion. Otherwise, you know, the only people that are going to suffer, you try to stick it to your baby daddy or you try to stick it to your baby mama, the only person that's going to suffer is your child. And that's what people have to understand. And I'm going to talk about that in my Father's Day blog next month. So get ready for me, daddies, because I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be on them. I'm going to be on you. I'm going to be on the stepmothers, because the thing about it is, when a woman marries a man with children, when you marry a man with children, you have adopted children. Those are your kids, and you can't, because the mother may become unwilling or unable to take care of those kids, and it's going to be your responsibility. So you got to do your part to make sure that your husband or your man has a functional relationship with his kids. It's hypocritical for you to expect him to take your children in and to be there with your children every day and every night and put his children out in the cold. That's crazy. You can't do that. So I'd also like to give tribute. After now I've talked about my mother-in-law, she was such a mother to me. After my mom passed away, my mom died in 1997, and then my mother-in-law died in 2007, and then my godmother died a few years later. Her name was Luanna Rollins. Her maiden name was Bolton. Bolton was actually her first married name, but she used both of them, Luanna Bolton Rollins. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. I remember spending summers at her house when I was a little girl, and she was Pentecostal, and she took me to that holiness church, and they used to scare me so bad. Oh my God, I was raised Baptist, and you know, people get happy at church. My grandma would shout while I was taking a nap in her lap and scare me to death. But the stuff they did at the Pentecostal churches really like scared me. I was little, I was scared. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, I was scared. I remember being scared too. Anyway, all you mothers out there, I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. Let me tell you a quick thing I told Kobe. I told Kobe to do something one day, and he told me that he felt used. And I told him, I said, until I climb in your body and live there like a parasite for 37 weeks, and then you go through 15 hours of excruciating pain, thinking that that's going to get me out of your body, but it don't work. They got to saw you in half to get me out of your body. Until that happens, I have not used you the way you used me, not even if you give me a kidney. There is no comeback from the labor and delivery argument, ladies. So tell your kids to make sure they appreciate you. All right, happy Mother's Day.